Have you ever dreamed of escaping the noise, slowing down and living in the middle of nowhere? Because that's exactly what I did. Hi, I'm Fine, currently in my 30s, and this is my 9-month-old husky Fenris. Together we split our time between Germany and this little cabin in Sweden. Since I can work remotely, I decided to invest in a place where I can escape, reset and live in a different pace. I left the fast-paced city life behind and bought a little vacation house in the Swedish countryside, and let me tell you, it's been life-changing. But why did I do it? And what it's really like to live out here. In this video, I will share my story, our first week back in Sweden, and why I keep coming back. And if you love slow living, nature and huskies, make sure to subscribe. Fenris and I would love to have you along for the ride. I bought this house in November 2023, and while I haven't done much in terms of renovations, except for that one time my pipes froze and I had to redo them completely, fun times, it already feels like home. We're in a tiny village in central Sweden, surrounded by nothing but forests, lakes and wildlife. It's the complete opposite of my life back in Hamburg, where I lived for 10 years before moving back to my parents' place in early 2025. And honestly, I love the contrast. I do love city life, but let's be real, it's intense. The constant rush, the noise, the never-ending to-do lists, it can be overwhelming. Especially when work gets crazy or my health isn't at its best. Speaking of health, in 2023 I started having serious gastric issues that eventually led to an emergency surgery. Since then, maintaining a healthy lifestyle has been a huge priority for me, but it's not always easy. In Germany, I slip back into bad habits all the time, but here it's different. Cooking is actually fun again. Maybe it's because I love my kitchen here, or maybe it's because food delivery doesn't really exist in the middle of nowhere. Either way, I eat so much better when I'm here. And then there's the daily routine. No matter how busy work gets, I always start my mornings the same way. Wake up before my alarm, take Fenris on a 5-kilometer walk or jog, make breakfast while checking work emails. Fenris naps for most of the day, which gives me solid focus times. And then in the afternoon, it's time for another long walk. Another 5 kilometers through the breathtaking landscapes of this tiny mountainside village. It never gets old. This time we are staying for 5 weeks, right as winter transitions into spring. Getting here is always an adventure. We left at 4 a.m. to catch the 7 a.m. ferry from Rostock to Trelleborg. Everything was covered in deep fog, making this trip feel even more surreal. Since it was a day ferry, we didn't book a cabin. Though if you travel with a dog on the night ferry, cabins are mandatory and dogs aren't allowed in restaurant areas. As soon as we arrived, we made our usual first stop at the beach, stretching our legs and taking in the fresh sea air before tackling the next part of the journey, an 8-hour drive through Sweden. Seriously, never underestimate how big this country is. We covered 1,000 kilometers in just 20 hours, but finally we made it to our cozy little cabin. On Saturdays, we always go hiking. Since this area has a rich mining history, I've made it a habit to explore a different one each week. This week we checked out the Schisshyttan mines, which led us to the beautiful Schisshyttan hair garden. After hiking, we always do our weekly grocery shopping. It's best to stock up since we're in such a remote area. Sundays? Those are for slow mornings, editing the videos I took during the week and just being. And that's how our first week in Sweden went. If you enjoyed this little glimpse into our slow life here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, if there's anything specific you'd like to see, whether it's more hikes, house updates, or even a deeper dive into life in Sweden, let me know in the comments. See you next time!